Hi everybody, my name is Victoria. Welcome back to my channel. Today I have a really exciting announcement reveal video. I recently participated in the WORLDHOPPERS Secret Santa exchange. And this wasn't just a normal Secret Santa exchange where you exchange presents. This was a read a different booktuber's favorite author or favorite book challenge. And so we were all randomly assigned a booktuber and we had to research that booktuber and then pick a book that kind of represents their tastes or something that they've labeled as a favorite. And so I was assigned to Vish from Books with V, and I just adore her channel. She is so lovely. And I completely adore Vish's channel. It is so aesthetically pleasing, and I just love the look of her videos and also her and the way she talks about books and her passion for books, and I just really enjoy her personality. So please, if you don't know Vish, please go check her out. She'll be linked down below. I will also link down the WORLDHOPPERS channel if you don't know about them already. It is a group of 4 ladies who are fantasy sci-fi readers primarily, and they have this WORLDHOPPERS initiative to raise charity funds through this channel, and it's just such a fantastic idea. It's such a fantastic group of people. And a big thank you to Andy, who set up this Secret Santa, and he had the idea for this. So applause all around for all the people involved. And that brings me to the book review. So I was assigned to Vish, and after researching her videos and looking through what she has posted on her channel, I found a video on Vish's channel that was all about her top 10 favorite authors. And her #1 favorite author was an author that I had never read before, and that is Sarah J. Maas. Don't know how I escaped Sarah J. Maas. I just wasn't reading as much, I think, in the time that her books were starting to come out and be popular. I was like end of college, getting into grad school, and I wasn't really reading for fun a whole lot at that time. So I missed the Sarah J. Maas hype train for the most part. So I decided to just start with the very first book of her most popular series, and that is Throne of Glass. Now, reading this book about 8 to 10 years after publication, it is dated in some ways. It was still a lot of fun. I do want to emphasize that I did have fun with this book in the end. I had some skepticisms along the way, but overall this was a fun read, and I have to thank it for just being a pretty entertaining book to read. Now, not having read any of her later works, I feel like I can't necessarily get a good grasp of Sarah J. Maas from like her very first novel, but that's kind of what I'm attempting to do in this video, so bear with me. If you think that maybe I should give Sarah J. Maas's newer books a chance, I might be willing to do that and try that. First of all, Throne of Glass is about an assassin. It is an assassin story. Our main character, Selena, is an assassin who has been captured, and when we meet her, she has been serving as a slave in these salt mines where life is pretty brutal. She has some battle scars to prove it. She is pulled out of these salt mines by the crown prince of Adarlan, and the prince convinces Selena to be his champion in a competition. All these royals have a champion, and they're gonna pit them against each other in all these crazy challenges and super dangerous things that they have to do, and some people are gonna die along the way, and then at the end there's gonna be a showdown between 2 of the champions, and then, you know, whoever survives that showdown is the ultimate winner, and then is gonna have to work for the king. And for Selena, she agrees because she wants to get out of her slavery and she wants to eventually be free. So the crown prince, his name is Dorian, he also promises her freedom at the end of a 4-year term if she wins serving the king. Honestly, pretty cool premise right off the bat. I was ready for an assassin story. Haven't read a whole lot of that. Hadn't read a YA fantasy in a really long time. It's definitely not a wheelhouse genre for me. So I would say, as far as the purposes of this challenge to get me outside of my comfort zone a little bit, this was a major success in that way, because I honestly probably wouldn't have picked up Throne of Glass or really maybe anything by Sarah J. Maas if not for this challenge. So I'm glad I got to try it and see. Pros about the book, I really loved the premise. The story does do some interesting things and some fun and exciting things that you don't necessarily see coming. There is a magic system that is slowly revealed. I have a feeling this first book only really touches the surface of the magic system, and it kind of sets it up for the rest of the series, which I assume is going to go a lot deeper into the magic system. The characters themselves don't really use a lot of magic in fighting. There's just a little bit of it more towards the end of the book. We get this impression that magic was once in the world and it is now kind of banned and outlawed, and people don't use it anymore. This book was a bit of a struggle for me until nearing the end, and I will say the ending battle scenes and how everything wraps up is pretty compelling, and you do get to a point in the book when you can't stop reading. So the pacing, especially at the end of the book, was great. One of my main problems with this book was the telling without showing, which it did for pretty much half, maybe a little bit over, maybe like 60% of the book. For a really long time, we are told that Selena is this crazy, badass assassin lady, and she is very feared by everyone. She has an alias when she goes into the competition because they don't want people to know who she is, because then, you know, people would just be so afraid of her that they would leave the competition or try to like take her down specifically. But for most of the book, we are only told that she has done all these cool things and that she has killed like hundreds of people, and we do not see her do anything. She often thinks about hurting someone or killing someone, or is like, yeah, I could totally kill that guy. We often get an internal dialogue with Selena that shows us that she knows that she can kill people, but then she just decides not to. And there were so many points in this competition journey when I'm like, you could just so easily escape the situation if you wanted to. If you're really as powerful as everybody is making you out to be, and you are also making yourself out to be, you could totally just get out of the situation and kill everybody. But so many times in the book, she thinks to herself, I could totally kill that guy, but I'm not gonna. So to me, just the fact that that went on for so long and we knew Selena for quite a long time before we actually see her battle anyone was kind of a big turnoff for me to her as a character. I had a hard time believing her as a character. It definitely took away from her credibility. Which brings me to probably my main problem with this book, and that is the unlikable main character, who I don't think is supposed to be unlikable, but wow, she's very arrogant in this first book, at least. I don't know how her character progresses throughout the series. I have a feeling she grows a lot, because she does grow a bit in this book and towards the end. But when we meet Selena, she's very full of herself. She believes that she is also the most beautiful person in the room all the time, and she frequently notices other people noticing her, and that got annoying really quickly, especially after it happened multiple times. I personally have a hard time relating to a character who right out the gate thinks they are the best thing since sliced bread, and that was Selena. Another thing that was hard for me to get around was the pretty cringy love triangle that is set up in this book. I didn't feel like the love interests really had that much substance, except maybe for Kale. Go Team Kale. I am totally Team Kale. But the main focused love story is pretty insta-lovey, and there's definitely some cringe-worthy scenes that just aren't written super smoothly. There's some very clunky dialogue, and I think a reason this book did not click for me is because I am not of the age demographic target for this book. I am an older lady at this point. I am 30 years old, friends. I am far from the young adult audience really at this point, or you know what was the target audience more at the time that this was written. And it's also like a story I've read before. I've done the Twilight thing. I loved Twilight. I was definitely a twihard. Went to the midnight showings of the movies, read all the books. This particular love triangle in this book feels familiar. It's very Jacob versus Edward. And I've just been there, done that. It's very predictable for me to read. Now, maybe for someone else, it's not predictable, and it's very enjoyable and fun. And that's awesome for those people. Does it make me want to continue? No. Should other people continue this series if they want to? Totally. Sarah J. Maas has some unique quirks to her writing, and sometimes they were starting to grate on me a little bit. She does like to use gemstones as color descriptors, particularly when talking about eyes. There's a lot of talk about Dorian's sapphire eyes. I think I counted, I started highlighting every time sapphire eyes were mentioned, and it was like 8 or 9 times in the book. Always sapphire eyes. And these are just little quirks that I noticed, but Sarah J. Maas also likes to do this thing where she repeats words 3 times. She'll say, he was slow, slow, slow. Or she felt her anger grow, grow, grow. And that to me was something I've never seen before. I've never seen a repetition of the same word. So it was little things like that that made me remember that this was maybe a new writer at the time that she was writing it, and just took me out of the story a little bit. Just kind of things that stuck in my brain and made me stop thinking about the story and start focusing on the writing. Now, she definitely might have gotten better about that. I'm not sure. I assume she has, because now she's been writing for a little while. I actually almost picked up the more recent one from her. What is it? Crescent City? Some House of Crescent City? Something like that. I wanted to pick that one up at first, but it is so long. And I knew that this December I also wanted to read a bunch of other things, so I just didn't end up picking that one, so I picked Throne of Glass. Now, if I had picked a newer book from her, maybe I would have a different experience as far as her writing goes. You can let me know down in the comments if you think that would be the case, because I would maybe be interested in checking out the Crescent City series / book. Is it a series? I'm not sure. But as far as Throne of Glass is concerned, while there was some magic set up that was really interesting, and I did want to kind of know more about how the magic is going to play into the world, there's some pet peeves that I had with the story. The love interest triangle, the writing. I don't think I'm going to continue in the series. Unless you have a really compelling reason for me to continue, that I might consider. If I don't love Throne of Glass, does it get better? I would love to know what you think. Something that Vish said that she really loves about Sarah J. Maas is the characters and the writing. And while I didn't love Selena necessarily as a character, I can definitely feel an attachment to her now, even not liking her. I did in the end want her to win. I did want good things for her kind of by the end of the book. And I would love for the male interests to be a little more fleshed out and not just a pretty face. So as you continue in the series, maybe that gets better. I'm not feeling super compelled to continue at the moment. But Vish, I was so glad to finally try Sarah J. Maas, and I'm very curious to know what are your favorite Sarah J. Maas books, or which ones are your favorite in the series. This challenge got me out of my comfort zone, made me pick up a book that I had really no intention of picking up until this month. And so I want to say a big warm thank you to the organizers of this, and Andy and the World Hoppers, and to Vish for getting me out of my comfort zone reading bubble a bit. That was a bubble, if you couldn't tell what I was doing with my hands. So let me know down below in the comments, what do you think of Sarah J. Maas? Do you think I should try to continue in the series? Or do you have another recommendation of another book by Sarah J. Maas that you think I would like more? This was such a fun and different reading experience for me, and I definitely would participate in a Secret Santa reading exchange again. If you would like to hear me talk about more bookish things and follow me on my bookish journey, consider subscribing to the channel and clicking on the little bell notification icon so that you don't miss when I post videos. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. Keep reading great books, and until next time, bye-bye.